Father Gregory Mathewes-Green is founding pastor and priest emeritus of Holy Cross Antiochian Orthodox Church in Linthicum, Maryland. I was told that Father Gregory sometimes introduces himself as the husband of Frederica Mathewes-Green. But as you'll see from these videos, Father Gregory has a great deal of pastoral wisdom of his own to share. So I hope you'll enjoy this episode from my interview with Father Gregory Mathewes-Green.
I became Orthodox about 18 years ago, but of course there's a story that precedes that, and that's the fact that I was raised as an Episcopalian. I became an Episcopal clergyman and was active in the Episcopal Church for, well, about 16 years. And during that time, particularly toward the close of those years, I became more and more disenchanted with the direction of the Episcopal Church and was looking for something that had more spiritual depth to it. Episcopal Church, Anglicanism generally, people know the drift of that. But in addition to that, I and my family were looking for something that really had something that had more of a history, had more of a spirituality that was transformative. It was also a remarkable experience when I first went to a service. The first service I went to was a Vesper service. And when I think back to that service, it was really nothing to write home about in terms of the music, the particular building that I was in. And yet, it just grabbed me. It with just a few people in the choir and this priest popping in and out of the door that I didn't understand the significance of that. Nevertheless, I could sense the radical God-ward orientation of what was going on, and that just had a profound effect on me. That was what I was looking for, something that was not directed at me or telling me how nice I was or lovely our community was, but rather was directing my whole being toward God. And it was really somewhere inside of me, I knew from that moment on that I had to be Orthodox. Well, I was an Episcopal priest, I was a rector of a parish. I was, in a sense, in big trouble spiritually from that point on, because I had to get myself to that place where I could be, in fact, Orthodox. Whether it was an Orthodox priest or not, I knew that that's where I had to be to worship God and to further the spiritual life that I could see was important for myself, but also for my family. So that was the beginning. And I talked with some other people, and we gathered a small community together. I did some study through the Antiochian Archdiocese, worked with some clergy, and before too long we had a bishop standing in front of us with the oil of chrism. I would go to these Vesper services, and eventually it occurred to me, I need to bring Frederica with me. And I'll never forget that the first time that she went. She did not understand, well, I didn't either to an extent, why all the standing. They're pews, and yet we're standing the whole service. What's this about? I think she thought more about her aching feet than she did about, the worship, and I think she would say that. But we had obviously a lot of conversation together. She was as tired and disgruntled with the way of the Episcopal Church as I was. So she was also looking for an alternative. In that sense, she was on a path, and there was obviously a certain point with her where Orthodoxy really clicked as well. And it's always an internal pilgrimage, I think. But so we travel the same path, not exactly climbing the mountain, holding hands together, but not terribly far apart either. And there was a point early on where I did look into the Roman option. I had been pastor, rector of an Anglo-Catholic Episcopal church, and so it made some sense to look west before I looked east. That was very much my liturgical tradition. And yet, as I looked into that as a real reality, a daily existence, again, whether part of the clergy or as a layperson, I just simply couldn't buy all the theology. There were clear obstacles there for me. I couldn't assent to all the things that would be required. And I think that was really important for me to do. I mean, I do think that it behooves serious Western Christians to consider Rome's claims. I mean, they loom large in history, but also in today's world. But after wrestling with that, only one thing remained, and that was Eastern Orthodoxy.
Hello again. I hope you enjoyed this episode from my interview with Father Gregory Mathewes-Green. Please subscribe below to get notified when new videos become available. And if you would, please leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of this video. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.